Okay, my car is a Saturn LW300. It is a 2001. And if you were buying this car, you'd want to know if it had ABS or not, because the car handles better when it's raining, and it's definitely raining. You can see the water on the windshield. So the way you find out if a car has ABS is just turn the key on, and the dashboard does a bulb check. And here's the bulb check, and you could see right here was the ABS light. So I'm going to turn it off again, and I'm going to turn it on, and you see there's your ABS light. Okay, and that means I'm equipped with ABS. So it's a real simple bulb check. But as far as ABS, I have ABS. So I'm going to show you how you're going to test drive this ABS. I'm going to take it in the back of the shop, and I'm going to show you. Okay. So the way you do an ABS check is you do a real hard brake. You try to lock up your brakes. So you get up to like 30 miles an hour. I'm not going to do like 30 miles an hour. But you hit the brakes as hard as you can. And what should happen is your brake pedal should pulsate very violently. Okay? So I'm going to get it up. You can see the trees are kind of blowing. It's not really raining right now. I should have done this earlier when it was really wet. But I'm going to get it up, and then you're going to hit the brakes as hard as you can and try to lock it up. And that brake pedal should vibrate. If it vibrates, it means it's releasing the pressure to the brakes. There we go. You heard it right there. You heard that? Almost sounds like a spring action. That's your ABS working. Okay, so now I know my ABS is functioning fine, because after doing a hard stop, and I did it on that dirt because I knew it would activate, the ABS light didn't come on. So my ABS is working fine. Again, I'm going to get it up. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can find another like little dirty area, because we'll do it better on dirt. Here's a little dirty area right here. There you go. You could hear it. That was not the road. That was my foot pulsating on the ground, making that noise. And it was the ABS module cycling the ABS valves inside the car. Okay, so I have my hood popped open on my Saturn. Okay, simple stuff we already know. Brake fluids right here. This is our power brake unit. This is the brake booster. This is what gives us our power brakes. Okay, but what we do when we apply our brakes real hard is we create a leak back to the reservoir. We actually create a fluid leak, and we do that by this control unit. So what you see with the control unit, and mine's real simple. It's right next to the master cylinder right here. Some cars will be on the opposite side, like the Subaru. The master cylinder would be here, and the control unit's over here. So they could be in different places, but what you will see is from the master cylinder, two lines are going to come into the control unit, and those two lines are right here. These are the two lines that come from the master cylinder. Then from the master cylinder, it goes into the control unit, and then you have a line going to each wheel. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines. One line goes to each wheel. So what this control unit does, it creates a leak in each of these lines. So if it sees a specific wheel lock up, so this was the wheel that was locking up, which was my driver's wheel. So I had my driver's wheel go over that dirt pile. So when I hit my brakes real hard, this wheel locked up. When the computer saw this wheel lock up, it created a leak in one of these tubes going to that wheel to free it up so it doesn't have a locking situation. That's why it's called an anti-lock brake system. Okay, what I have here is an actual wheel hub assembly. This is how the ABS works. This spins, and as this spins, a sensor on the back of this creates a analog AC voltage, and so it's able to look at the computer's able to look at that voltage that travels down the lines to these to the computer, and compares the voltages, or they compares the, more importantly, the frequency, how fast these things are spinning. Okay, so they should all be spinning the same speed. So all we need to do if we want to check if let's say we had a code for one of these sensors for, like, let's say the left front wheel, which is what we were looking at, we would want to unplug this at the wheel, and we want to use a voltmeter and an ohm meter. So first off, let's get the meter right, and we're going to first measure our resistance. So I'm going to switch it to ohms right here, which is the horseshoe. That's how much resistance this has. I'm going to hook up my leads. So I'm going to hook this up. The black lead always goes in the COM right here, and the red lead is going to go right where the horseshoe's at on the resistance right here. Okay, and then on our connector here, I cannot really get a good connection with the voltmeter, so I'm actually going to take this alligator clip right here, and I'm going to install this onto one of the pins. And then that's for one pin, and then now I'm going to go ahead and take this and install on the other. Okay, so I have the two jumper wires hooked up to my wheel speed sensor. The red lead's already hooked up. I have it on ohms, and right now there's no ohms because I have it open, not connected. This would be called an open circuit. So you can see right here the tip is not connected to the sensor. So that's why OL is reading. That means it's open, it's infinite resistance. So now we're going to go ahead and connect this last jumper cable or jumper wire, hook that up, and now we're getting a ohm reading. And it looks like this ohm reading is at 1086 ohms. Okay, we're at 1086 ohms. I don't know if that's in spec, so we're going to check that on ProDemand and see if that's within spec. Still have this hooked up to our ohm meter, but now let's switch it to our voltage. So there's a V here. I need to switch it to voltage. Now, when I switch it to voltage, I'm not going to use this voltage. This is for DC, like your battery. ABS sensors create AC voltage, alternating current. So I need to have it make sure be on AC voltage, and I'm going to turn this sensor over right here, and then I'm going to spin it. And you'll see as I spin it, I create an AC voltage. So I know this sensor is probably pretty good. It's in spec, and it's creating an AC voltage when I spin it. Now, what you can do, which we're going to do next, is we're going to hook up a scanner to it's not the car that this came off of, and I'm going to show you how you could monitor an ABS sensor from a scanner. Okay, so I have my Snap-on scanner hooked up to my Saturn LW300. I am going to now make it where we can communicate with the computers. Okay, so I need to manipulate my scan tool using these buttons over here. And I'm going to move it to US domestic. It is a GM car. Okay, so it wants the 10th digit on my vehicle. I know it's going to be like a 2001. But let's just make sure, because it's really important we get this right. So I'm going to go to my VIN decal, and there's not one on the door, so I'm going to go to my up here on top of my windshield, and I need to go IG is 2, 8J is 4, W8 is 6, 4R is 8, and it's a 41, the 1 meaning 2001. That's the model year. So I was right, it's a 2001. Okay. It's not a Y. A Y would be a 2000, so I'm going to hit yes. It is a Saturn. So let's see, Saturn. Yes, and I'm just hitting the white button. And it's a L series. I could check for the VIN number. So if I go back to my VIN number, it is a J. The fourth digit's a J, so it is an L series. This J is an L series, and it's a 3.0 liter motor. I could go check the VIN, but I don't have to because I know. Oh, wait, it's a 3.0 liter. Yes. Okay, so now these are all different computer modules. Okay, I have an instrument cluster module that is for my gauges. I have a body control module that controls, like, if you listen right now, you hear the chime. The door is open. That's the door ajar chime. That is controlled by my body control module, which is actually located right underneath my dashboard above my glove box right here. That's the body control module. The engine and the transmission modules are kind of combined on this. I'm going to show you them. So I'm going to pop my hood. And by the way, that's my instrument cluster. The cluster itself has the module attached to it. And then I'm going to go ahead, pop my hood. And if I look right there, there's my computer powertrain and engine and transmission module. So let me go ahead and put my hood prop up so I could leave this open. Okay. So I have a module there, instrument cluster, and a body control module over there. And then I have an analog brake module. I actually don't know where it's at on this, but I'm going to go to my ABS. Okay, if you ever get a U code means that none of these are communicating. All right, so let me go ahead and hit yes. And now I need to do a K12A key. So now let's plug this into the computer. So these are the keys. I'm going to pull the keys out. And then I'm going to go look and find my little trapezoid connector that is underneath the steering wheel. And I'm going to plug this in. There we go. And now I need to find my K12 key. K2A, K13, I'm getting close. Oh, there it is. K12A, and I could put that right into the slot. So I'll unplug it for a second. I'm going to put this right into the slot right here, and now I can communicate with my ABS module and watch all my speed sensors. Okay, so now we're ready to go. Let's turn on our key. So I'm going to turn the key on. My ABS light comes on, and now I should be able to go over here, and I want to look first off and see if there's any codes. So I'm going to hit yes. We have that K12A key in there. And there we go. We'll see the display code. So let's display codes. And then you hit yes. And let's see if there's any codes. I doubt there would be. A code would be created if it's not sensing one of the wheels properly. In other words, a wheel is locking up, a sensor is bad, the resistance is bad, and there's no codes. Of course not, because if there was a code, when I'm driving, the ABS light would be on, and when I went for that test drive and did that ABS test, the brakes would lock up. I knew my ABS is working because my brakes didn't lock up even though I was trying to lock them up. So now we could go hit no, and we're going to go ahead and go to data display. I don't have to clear my codes because there are no codes. Hit data display, and this is the fun part. This is where I kind of like ABS. I'm going to close my door. And now it's going to pull up all my sensors. Left wheel speed sensor, right front wheel speed sensor, left rear wheel speed sensor, right rear wheel speed sensor, and it tells me in the miles per hour. So I'm going to go, and I'm just going to show you how kind of cool this is. I'm just going to go to my left front wheel speed sensor, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the ground right here and spin the tire, and you'll see the numbers change. The tire's spinning, and you can see the numbers changing. So if I were to want to test a wheel speed sensor, I would hook up the scanner and I would go for a test drive watching each wheel speed sensors. And then the other thing is I would do a panic stop and I would look and see how my valves are working. In other words, if I purposely would do what I did on a test drive, and I better see these values change as I try to lock up my brakes. So I would purposely try to lock up my brakes, and these values should change. Values should change. Let's go to the right rear or left rear. So I'm going to put that here. I want to go to my wheel. I want to spin my wheel. This one I can spin faster because it's just not a live axle, it's a dead axle. And if you look, that sensor is working just fine. And that is my left rear. And the wheel's almost coming to a stop. There's no problem with this sensor. This sensor works fine. There's no codes. The ABS light is not on. I went for a test drive and I tried to lock up the brakes and didn't lock up the brakes. The brake pedal vibrated violently. Everything's good on my car. And because of that, I don't mind driving in the rain.